You've been playing a gentleman's game. On a battlefield. You were taught a beautiful lie. Treat everyone with respect. Turn the other cheek. Be the bigger person. So you did. You gave respect freely, like an infinite currency. You absorbed the subtle insults, the backhanded compliments, the dismissive gestures. You smiled when you should have frowned. You stayed silent when you should have drawn a line in the sand. And what did it get you? More disrespect. You know that person. The one who makes jokes at your expense in front of others. The one who consistently interrupts you when you're speaking. The one who dismisses your ideas before you've even finished the sentence. The one who is always, subtly, chipping away at your authority. Every time it happens, you feel it. That hot sting of humiliation. That small, silent death of your self-respect. You tell yourself you're being mature. You tell yourself you don't want to cause a scene. But the truth is, you feel yourself shrinking. You are starving for respect from the very people you've been conditioned to give it to unconditionally. And the brutal, crushing unfairness of it all is eating you alive. Today, the gentleman's game ends. Today, you learn the rules of the battlefield. This video is your first lesson in psychological warfare. We are about to reveal a forbidden strategy. The dark art of using calculated, strategic disrespect. This is not about being a bully. This is not about cruelty for its own sake. This is about using disrespect not as a clumsy insult, but as a surgeon's scalpel. A tool to recalibrate power dynamics, to carve out your boundaries, and to command the respect you have been so tragically denied. You will transform from the tolerant target, who absorbs poison with a polite smile, into the respected power, who teaches the world, with cold precision, exactly how he is to be treated. This knowledge is dangerous. It is a fire that can be used to forge or to burn. Use it to forge your own throne. Now, before we weaponize your will, you must make a vow. Drop this truth in the comments below. I teach people how to treat me. Let's begin by naming the poison you've been swallowing. The poison you've been told is just a joke. Let's call it the slow sickness, death by 1,000 cuts. Overt, aggressive disrespect is easy to identify. If someone shouts at you or physically threatens you, the rules are clear. But that is not how the sophisticated game of power is played. The true masters of social dominance use a far more insidious weapon. The micro-disrespect, the subtle slight, the plausible deniability. It's the joke that has a kernel of truth designed to sting you. It's the eye roll when you present an idea. It's the conversation that physically turns away from you when you try to speak. It's the repeated forgetting of your name or your title. Each one, on its own, is a paper cut. If you complain, you look too sensitive. You look like you can't take a joke. This is the genius of their trap. They have created a situation where your only two options are to accept the disrespect or look foolish for complaining about it. So you choose to accept it. You bleed. One small cut at a time. And you wonder why you feel so weak, so drained, so powerless at the end of the day. The dark psychology of the test. Every act of micro-disrespect is a test. It is a probe, an experiment. They are testing your perimeter. They are checking your defenses. They are asking a silent, primal question. Is this one a sheep or a wolf? When you laugh along with a joke at your own expense, you are bleating. You are saying, I am a sheep. My comfort is less important than the group's harmony. You may graze on my self-respect. When you ignore the interruption, you are bleating. You are saying, your voice is more important than mine. The nice guy, the bigger person, believes he is showing strength through his tolerance. He is catastrophically wrong. He is demonstrating that his boundaries are non-existent. He is teaching everyone in the room that he is a safe target. A target that will not shoot back. And once you are labeled a safe target, the attacks will not stop. They will escalate. The jokes will get crueler, the interruptions more frequent, the dismissals more blatant. You have taught them that it is not only acceptable to disrespect you, it is easy. Machiavelli saw this dynamic with perfect, brutal clarity. He wrote, "Men should either be caressed or crushed. If you do them minor damage, they will get their revenge, but if you cripple them, there is no revenge to fear." In the modern world, this is not about physical violence. It is about psychological consequence. When you respond to disrespect with a weak, "Hey, that's not cool," you are doing minor damage. You are showing you are hurt, but not that you are powerful. This invites more disrespect, as they now see you as both a target and a complainer. But when you respond with a cold, strategic, and devastating consequence, you have psychologically crushed their attempt at dominance, and they will learn to fear testing you again. Today, you stop accepting the 1,000 cuts. Today, you learn to wield the scalpel. Here are the 7 forbidden strategies of calculated disrespect. These are not for the faint of heart. They are for the man who is done being a target. Strategy number 1, the weapon of silence. This is the foundation. We have spoken of silence before, but here we weaponize it. This is not a passive silence of fear. This is an active, predatory silence of judgment. The predictable response. When someone says something disrespectful, the target either laughs it off, submission, or argues back, emotional reaction. Both are weak. The dark psychology of the void. The human mind abhors a vacuum. An emotional vacuum is the most terrifying of all. When an insult is met with a complete and total absence of emotional response, it creates a profound sense of unease in the aggressor. Their words, which were meant to provoke a reaction, hang in the air, useless and exposed. Their power move has been met with a void. The good sport's mistake. The good sport believes that laughing at a joke about himself makes him seem confident and easygoing. What it actually signals is that he does not value himself enough to object to being the butt of the joke. He is trading his dignity for a moment of social harmony. It is a fool's bargain. The Machiavellian countermove, the cold void. This is a performance of absolute zero. The technique. Someone makes a joke at your expense. The room titters with nervous laughter. You do not smile. You do not frown. Your face becomes a mask of complete neutrality. You turn your head slowly and you look at the person who made the joke. You do not glare. A glare is an emotional reaction. You simply look. Your eyes are not angry. They are analytical, as if you are observing a strange, slightly distasteful insect. You hold this eye contact for 3 full seconds. 1, 2, 3. The laughter in the room will die instantly. The temperature will drop by 10 degrees. Then, without ever acknowledging the joke, you turn your body slightly away from the person and you resume your previous conversation with someone else. Or, if you were speaking, you continue your sentence from the exact point you were interrupted, as if the interruption and the interrupter never existed. The devastating effect. You have just, without a single word, done several things. You have refused to play the game. You did not accept the role of the butt of the joke. You have judged them. Your silent, analytical gaze was a judgment. It said, that was a weak and unimpressive move. You have excommunicated them. By turning away and continuing without them, you have socially erased them. You have communicated that their attempt to gain status by lowering yours has resulted in their own status being obliterated. This is 1,000 times more powerful than any angry comeback. An angry comeback says, "You got to me." The cold void says, "You are nothing." As Machiavelli might say, a prince does not engage in arguments with jesters. To do so is to lower himself to their level. He simply ceases to be amused. And for a jester, there is no greater punishment. Strategy number 2, the dismissive question. Sometimes, silence is not enough. Sometimes, you must use a few, carefully chosen words, not to defend yourself, but to dismantle them. The predictable response. When someone says something condescending or dismissive, the target immediately gets defensive. Well, that's a very idealistic way of looking at it. The target, it's not idealistic. It's based on data. Let me show you the numbers. The target has accepted the frame that their idea is on trial. The dark psychology of the frame. As we've discussed, the person who sets the frame controls the interaction. The condescending comment is designed to frame you as naive and them as the wise, worldly realist. When you start defending your idea, you are playing within their frame. You have already lost. The passionate person's mistake. The person who is passionate about their ideas mistakes a condescending attack for a genuine intellectual challenge. They rush to provide more information, more proof, more logic. They do not realize that the attack was never about the idea. It was about establishing a hierarchy. The Machiavellian countermove, the scalpel question. The respected power never defends the idea. He questions the attacker's motive. He uses a short, sharp, dismissive question that reframes the entire interaction. The arsenal of questions. The key to these questions is the delivery. They must be asked with a tone of genuine, almost bored, curiosity. As if you are a doctor asking about a strange but alarming symptom. The attack, that's a very idealistic plan. The counter. Pause. Slight head tilt. Are you saying you're a pessimist? Or why does that optimism make you uncomfortable? The effect. You have ignored the critique of your plan and reframed the conversation. Around their psychological state. They are now the one on the defensive, forced to explain their own negativity. The attack, after you state a boundary. Wow, you're being really sensitive about this. The counter. Are you finding this boundary difficult? Or do you often have trouble with people's boundaries? The effect. You have refused to debate your sensitivity. You have reframed their comment as a confession of their own inadequacy. The attack, interrupting you. Let me just jump in here because... The counter. You hold up a hand slightly. You do not get angry. Was my sentence finished? The effect. This is a devastatingly simple and powerful question. It is not rude. It is a simple question of fact. But it immediately highlights their transgression in a way that makes them look childish and impatient. These questions are psychological scalpels. They cut through the surface-level comment and expose the underlying power move. They are a form of strategic disrespect because you are refusing to treat their disrespectful comment as a valid point worthy of a direct answer. You are treating it as a symptom of a flaw in them. Machiavelli taught that it is better to be the one who asks the questions than the one who has to answer them. Seize control of the interrogation. Strategy number 3. The subtle devaluation. Respect is given to those who are perceived as having high value. One of the most effective ways to establish your own high value is to subtly communicate that you do not see the aggressor as your equal. This must be done with immense subtlety. If it is too obvious, it becomes simple arrogance. The predictable response. When challenged by a rival, the target engages with them as a peer. They argue, they debate, they compete. They are implicitly signaling, we are equals, fighting for the same prize. The dark psychology of status. Humans are status-obsessed creatures. We are constantly, subconsciously evaluating where we stand in the hierarchy. When you treat someone as your equal, you validate their status. When you subtly treat them as a subordinate or as irrelevant, you psychologically demote them. The fair player's mistake. The fair player believes in a level playing field. They engage with every challenge, every competitor, with the same level of seriousness and respect. They do not realize that in doing so, they are often elevating the status of their lessers by giving them their attention. The Machiavellian countermove, the art of the demotion. The respected power uses subtle verbal and non-verbal cues to establish a hierarchy where they are in the dominant position. This is not about being a boss. It is about having a commanding presence. The arsenal of devaluation. The use of the first name. In a professional context where last names are common, or when an older person is addressing you, strategically using their first name can be a subtle power move. It reframes the dynamic from one of deference to one of peer-to-peer, or even senior to junior. It must be done with confidence, not familiarity. Their amused smile. When they are trying to be very serious and intimidating. A small, knowing, almost imperceptible smile on your face can be absolutely infuriating to them. It communicates, "I see your attempt at power, and I find it cute." The benign interruption. This is the reverse of being interrupted. When they are in the middle of a self-important monologue, you can gently, calmly interrupt with a completely unrelated logistical question. "Excuse me, John, one moment. Sarah, did we confirm the catering for the afternoon session? Thank you." Then you turn back to John. "I'm sorry, you were saying something." You have just communicated that their monologue was less important than a logistical detail. The act of forgetting. You forget a minor detail they told you, or you forget their exact title. "John, you're the head of regional outreach, is that right?" When done with a confident, unapologetic air, it signals that the details of their world are not a high priority in yours. These tactics are a form of strategic disrespect because you are denying them the status and seriousness they are trying to project. You are disrespecting their attempt to establish dominance. This is a dangerous art. It requires immense social calibration. Used clumsily, it makes you look like an arrogant fool. Used with surgical precision, it establishes you as the unspoken authority in the room. As Machiavelli would advise, a prince must never allow a lesser lord to act as his equal. He must, through subtle and consistent means, reinforce the natural order of power. You are the prince of your own reality. Establish the order. Strategy number 4, the strategic misinterpretation. Sometimes, the most powerful way to deal with a disrespectful comment is to pretend you didn't understand the insult. You choose to interpret their words in the most benign, positive way possible. The predictable response. When someone says something passive-aggressive, the target hears the hidden insult and reacts to it. "Wow, it must be nice to get to leave work at 5 p.m. every day." Hidden insult. "You are lazy." The target. "I'm not lazy. I finish all my work, I just manage my time well." The target has taken the bait. They are now defending themselves against the unspoken accusation. The dark psychology of plausible deniability. Passive aggression works because it has 2 layers, the surface meaning and the hidden meaning. This allows the aggressor to deliver tea. He insults while maintaining the ability to deny it. "I was just saying it's nice. Why are you so defensive?" They get to have it both ways. The sensitive person's mistake. The sensitive person is highly attuned to the hidden meaning. They feel the sting of the insult, and they react to that sting. In doing so, they fall right into the aggressor's trap. They are the one who looks crazy or emotional for reacting to an innocent comment. The Machiavellian countermove, the willful naivete. The respected power chooses to hear only the surface meaning. They deliberately misunderstand the insult, responding only to the positive or neutral interpretation. The technique in action. The attack. "Wow, it must be nice to get to leave at 5 p.m. The counter, with a big, genuine smile. "It really is. I'm so glad I've managed to create a workflow that's this efficient. It's been a game changer for my work-life balance. You should try it." The effect. You have taken their passive-aggressive bullet, melted it down, and forged it into a shield of your own competence. You have cheerfully agreed with the surface statement, completely ignoring the insult. They are left with no room to move. They cannot reveal their true, insulting intent without looking petty and jealous. They are forced to agree with you. Yes, efficiency. That's great. They have been completely disarmed. The attack, that's a very brave outfit. Hidden insult, your outfit is weird. The counter, enthusiastically, thank you so much. I was feeling brave today. I'm glad it comes across. The effect, you have accepted their word brave as a genuine compliment. You have owned it. The insult has been neutralized. They have no follow-up. This is a form of strategic disrespect to their intelligence. You are essentially treating them as if they are a simple, straightforward person who is incapable of complex, passive-aggressive communication. You are disrespecting their attempt at being clever. This tactic works because it is utterly disorienting. The passive aggressor is a sniper. They are used to taking shots from a hidden position. You have just walked out into the open, picked up their bullet, and thanked them for the gift. They don't know what to do next. As Machiavelli might say, sometimes the greatest deception is to feign an innocence that your enemy cannot comprehend. Let them believe you are too simple to understand their insult. While they are confused by your naivete, you are in complete control. Strategy number 5. The recalibration of value. When someone disrespects you, they are making a statement about your value. They are saying, in my worldview, you are beneath me. The ultimate act of strategic disrespect is not just to counter their move, but to fundamentally and permanently recalibrate how they see your value. The predictable response. The target tries to prove their value after the act of disrespect. They work harder to gain the approval of the person who just insulted them. They become nicer, more accommodating. They are essentially saying, you are right, I am of low value. Please let me audition to prove you wrong. The dark psychology of the chase. As we have discussed, humans devalue what chases them. When you start working for the approval of someone who has disrespected you, you are confirming their initial assessment of you. You are reinforcing the hierarchy they sought to create. The hard worker's mistake. The hard worker believes that their good work will eventually win over their critics. They think that if they just achieve more, the disrespect will stop. Often, the opposite is true. Their increased success only fuels the envy of the aggressor, leading to more, albeit more subtle, disrespect. The Machiavellian countermove, the withdrawal of value. The respected power understands that you cannot prove your value to someone who is determined not to see it. You cannot win their approval. You must make them feel the cost of your disapproval. The technique. This is the long game. It is about a fundamental shift in the flow of value. When someone has established a pattern of disrespecting you, you do not confront them. You do not argue. You begin a quiet, systematic process of withdrawing all forms of value you provide to them. The withdrawal of knowledge. You stop offering them your insights in meetings. You stop helping them with their problems. Your well of expertise, for them, has run dry. The withdrawal of social capital. You stop including them in interesting conversations. You stop inviting them to social gatherings. The bridges that connected them to your network are quietly dismantled. The withdrawal of emotional support. You stop being the person they can vent to. You become a cool, professional, and distant surface. Your empathy, for them, is gone. This withdrawal is done without announcement. It is done without anger. It is a slow, creeping, and undeniable change in their environment. They will start to feel it. Their work will get harder because they no longer have access to your help. Their social life will become less vibrant because they are excluded from your circles. They will feel a coldness from you that they cannot quite put their finger on, because you are still polite. One day, they will realize that their own world is a little darker, a little harder, a little more isolated, and they will eventually trace that change back to their treatment of you. They have not been punished. They have simply been deprived of the value that they did not appreciate. They have been made to feel the cost of your absence. This is the ultimate recalibration. You have not changed their mind through argument. You have changed their reality through action. They will come to you, eventually. They will ask what's wrong. And in that moment, The power is entirely yours. You can then choose, from a position of absolute strength, whether to state your terms for re-engagement or whether to inform them that their access has been permanently revoked. As Machiavelli wrote, hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. Sometimes, the good work of being tolerant and forgiving only earns you the hatred and contempt of those who see you as weak. The strategic withdrawal, an act that might seem evil or unkind to the naive, is the very act that can earn you their fear, their compliance, and ultimately, their respect. Strategy number 6. The power of the public stage. Disrespect often happens in private, where the aggressor feels safe. When it happens in public, it's a performance. And the only way to win a performance is with a better performance. The predictable response. When disrespected in front of others, the target either shrinks in humiliation or gets into a messy, emotional argument. Both responses make them look weak. Shrinking shows submission. Arguing shows a lack of control. The dark psychology of the audience. A public insult is not for you. It is for the audience. The aggressor is trying to elevate their own status by lowering yours in the eyes of the group. They are playing to the crowd. The private person's mistake. The private person thinks, "I'll deal with this later, in private." This is a fatal error. The public crime must be answered with public justice. If you let the disrespect stand in front of the group's perception of you is now damaged. Dealing with it later does not erase the public humiliation. The Machiavellian counter-move, the theatrical judgment. The respected power understands that a public stage requires a public performance. But it must be a performance of high status, not low emotion. The arsenal of public execution. The "I'm sorry for you" them makes a condescending joke at your expense. The crowd laughs nervously. You pause. Look at them not with anger, but with a look of pity, of almost clinical concern. You speak calmly, but loud enough for the group to hear. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were having a bad day." Or "Are you okay? You seem a little on edge." The effect: you have just reframed their aggression as a symptom of their own weakness or instability. You are not the victim. You are the concerned, high-status observer. The crowd's sympathy will instantly shift to you. The unimpressed question. Them boasts about an achievement in a way that is meant to diminish yours. You wait for them to finish. Pause. Then ask a calm, simple, and slightly bored question. "And you're proud of that? Or did that take you a long time?" The effect: this is devastating. Your lack of impressed energy completely deflates their entire performance. It questions their standard of excellence. It implies that their great achievement is, in your world, rather mundane. The silent turn. This is a physical move. When the aggressor is addressing you with disrespect in a group, you can silently and deliberately turn your back on them and engage someone else in a completely different conversation. This is the ultimate physical statement of irrelevance. It is a social execution. The key to all public counters is to never, ever get angry. Anger is a low-status emotion in a public setting. The crowd sides with the person who has more composure. Your performance must be one of calm, unshakable, high-status power. You are the king, mildly amused or disappointed by the antics of a court jester. As Machiavelli knew, the perception of the people is everything. A prince who looks weak in public will be challenged in private. Secure your public image, and your private power will be much safer. Strategy number 7. The long memory. The nice guy believes in forgiveness, in second chances, in letting things go. The formidable man believes in patterns. He believes that past behavior is the single most reliable predictor of future behavior. He forgives, perhaps, but he never, ever forgets. The predictable response. Someone disrespects you. They apologize. You accept the apology and everything goes back to normal. A month later, they disrespect you again. The cycle repeats. The dark psychology of the pattern. A person who disrespects you once has revealed a capacity in their character. They may apologize, and they may even mean it in the moment. But under pressure, under temptation, that capacity is still there. The nice guy ignores the pattern. He focuses on the apology. The strategist ignores the apology. He focuses on the pattern. The forgiving person's mistake. The forgiving person thinks that letting things go is a sign of emotional strength and moral superiority. And it can be, if the transgression was a genuine, one-time mistake. But when it is a pattern, forgiveness is not a virtue. It is enablement. It is permission for the pattern to continue. The Machiavellian countermove, the internal ledger. The respected power keeps a silent, internal ledger. Every action, every word, every loyalty, and every betrayal is recorded. This ledger is not for revenge. It is for strategy. The application of the ledger. Trust is calibrated. A person who has demonstrated a pattern of disrespect is not granted the same level of trust as a loyal ally. They are moved to an outer circle of your life. You are still polite. You are still professional. But they are not given access to your vulnerabilities, your secrets, or your most important plans. Their access is permanently downgraded based on their past behavior. Future moves are anticipated. Because you remember the pattern, you can predict their future moves. You know that the friend who gossiped about others will eventually gossip about you. You know that the colleague who threw someone else under the bus will do the same to you when it is convenient. This memory is not bitterness. It is intelligence. It allows you to protect yourself before the attack even comes. The strategic forgiveness. You may choose to verbally forgive someone for the sake of social harmony or a larger strategic objective. But your internal ledger remains unchanged. Your forgiveness is a performance, a social lubricant. Your memory is a fact. This allows you to maintain a working relationship while never again making yourself vulnerable to them. Machiavelli wrote, "The vulgar crowd is always taken by appearances, and the world is composed of the vulgar." The appearance is your polite forgiveness. The reality is your cold, unwavering memory. This is the final, and perhaps darkest, art. The ability to maintain a pleasant and functional exterior with someone who you internally know to be an untrustworthy actor. This is not hypocrisy. It is the strategic necessity of a leader who must navigate a world full of flawed and ambitious people. The nice guy's memory is a sieve. He lets everything go. The formidable man's memory is a library. Every event is catalogued, cross-referenced, and available for consultation when making future strategic decisions. His forgiveness may be a gift, but his memory is a weapon, and he never, ever lays it down. Phase 4. The vision of transformation and identity choice. The lesson is now complete. The art has been revealed. You have seen the brutal, uncomfortable, and devastatingly effective mechanics of power and respect. You have seen how your tolerance has been your poison. How your desire to be the bigger person has only made you smaller. How your politeness has been the welcome mat for your own disrespect. You have been given the tools. The cold void of silence. The scalpel question that dismantles. The subtle demotion of status. The willful misunderstanding that disarms. The quiet withdrawal of value. The public judgment. And the long, cold memory. These are not the tools of a gentleman. These are the tools of a warrior. A psychological warrior in a world that is constantly, silently at war. You stand at a threshold. Behind you is the familiar, comfortable, and soul-crushing world of the tolerant target. A world of forced smiles, of swallowed insults, of quiet, simmering resentment. A world where you are liked, and used, and ultimately, forgotten. In front of you is a new world. A world where your presence commands attention. Where your boundaries are walls of steel. Where your silence is more powerful than other men's threats. A world where you are not necessarily liked by everyone, but you are respected by all who matter. A world where you are the author of the terms of your own treatment. The path is not easy. It will require you to go against every polite instinct you have ever been taught. It will require you to endure the shock and anger of those who are used to the weaker version of you. It will require you to become a person your past self might not even recognize. Most will not choose this path. The safety of being a target is, for them, preferable to the responsibility of being a power. But you are still here. You have looked into the darkness, and you have not flinched. You are ready. Phase 5. The concluding reinforcement and call to action. Do not confuse this art with cruelty. Cruelty is the clumsy, emotional violence of the weak. This is the cold, calculated precision of the strong. It is the necessary response to a world that does not respect gentlemen. It is the art of teaching. And the lesson is respect. If this video has armed you for the battles to come, then show your resolve. Smash that like button. Share this forbidden knowledge with someone who is still bleeding from 1,000 cuts of disrespect. And subscribe for your continued training in the art of psychological warfare. Now, leave your new decree in the comments below. A statement that will be the foundation of your new reality. My respect is earned, never given. Remember, the world will constantly test you. It is looking for targets. Do not be one. Be the one they learn to avoid. Be the one they learn to respect. Or be the one they learn to fear. The choice is yours.